Now, I've been asked my opinion a while back on Bitcoin, and I basically said stay away from it. It's digital fiat currency, so to speak, in a sense. Since I made that response, it had since crashed back down, then started to climb again. I still said stay away from it. So here we are today. Bitcoin value crashes. And again, today is October 18, 2011. Bitcoin value crashes below cost of production, so to speak, as broader use stutters. Hackers' virtual currency has favored means of exchange drops from $33 high in August to below $2 as cost of, quote, mining coins falls below real-world exchange rates. The value of Bitcoins has dropped dramatically since June 2011 when they peaked at $33. Now they are between $1 and $2. The value of Bitcoins, the cryptocurrency, if you will, that some had thought would take over from more traditional currencies, has plummeted across exchanges to a level where it costs more to make these things, basically, than they're worth, and they're made on computer systems. Though there's no obvious reason why, part of the problem seems to be precisely what economists remarked on when its value began to spike as more and more people piled in. The appreciation of value was a speculative bubble caused by people hoarding the currency rather than starting a new or parallel economy, which was the original point of that. Everybody wants a quick buck, they pile in, try to make the money, and then get out. Good idea somewhat, but because it was a digital currency online, there's stories in here about the thing being hacked and all that stuff. Done. Now, regarding the CFTC, this is from, what's his name? Bix Weir, the Road to Ruta guy. Today's passing of the position limit rule was a big deal, but don't expect it to end manipulation immediately. Remember what I just said in my previous video. I know that they're passing it today. When does it actually take effect? And apparently, it's looking like 60 days from now, roughly. But it's 60 days. Well, let me just read this because it'll say it. First of all, there's a 60-day waiting period allowing our buddy JP Morgan Chase to further close out their big short position. Again, this could push the price of silver down much lower. Be prepared to buy with both hands if that takes place. Second, that 60-day waiting period doesn't actually start until after the CFTC defines the word swap. What is the absolute definition of the word swap? As they discussed today, we've got to refine that and come up with a meaning, on the books meaning of that word, so that we all understand what that means. So he said it maybe in a couple weeks from the interview today, or the hearing today. Does that mean they'll have the term swaps done in 2 weeks? No. Maybe it'll drag that on 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and then it's 60 days on top of that. We could see the whole end of the year go by, and then 60 days on top of that. The bottom line, we are stabbing the beast in the heart. It is a slow, 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 slow death. But it is a death of the beast named JP Morgan Chase in their silver manipulation. But it is occurring. This is great news. It's great news on the one hand, but it's more crappy news on the other hand because we have to wait even longer after we already waited long. After we already got 3 postponements of this meeting that just took place today, should have already been done, a month ago. Here we are today with it. Fine. And before that, they should have already had that meeting months ago. But again, it's a slow process. It's allowing JP Morgan to get out of all of its positions, short positions. And again, Bob Chapman seems to think that right now they're pretty much got out of most, if not all, of their short positions, JP Morgan. There may be some left, because he just said all or most of it, most of their positions, means there's a little bit to go, so maybe they need to dump some more silver. Maybe they'll push it down some more. Then again, maybe Bob Chapman's right when he said they're pretty much all out of the game. It won't matter if they get rid of a little bit here or there or not. Doesn't matter. It's going to start going back up soon. The bottom line is one way or the other, it's going to go back up soon. But does soon mean 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 2-3 months, etc.? And I'm here to tell you, yeah, any of those. Sorry to say it, but that's the bottom line. Again, you shouldn't care about these things if you're holding physical silver. It doesn't matter. It's up, it's back down, it's back up, it's back. Doesn't matter. When it hits that final magic number that you are comfortable with, then you sell, and that's it. The comfortable number, by the way, better be a lot higher than $50. If you get to $50 and sell out because you're nervous again, like, oh, we hit 50 once before, I'm not chancing, I'm going to get out now. Go ahead. Do it. I won't even consider, it won't even cross my mind as, hey, I wonder if I should sell some until we reach $100. And then I'm going to look at some things and figure out, are they going to try to push it down from here? And if so, what means could they do that with? You know what I mean? And if so, I'm not selling a whole bunch of it. I'll just sell a small portion of it, but not a whole bunch of my silver, because I already have enough to wait for the big paydays later on. And that could be years away, a few years away, $200, $300, $400 silver. Sure, it can be. But even so, if you waited 2, 3, 4 years for that to take place, are you really going to be upset if you bought at $20, $30, $40, $50 silver? It'll be the biggest blessing of your life when everything else around you is collapsing and tanking. Wow, this really was a good idea. I held in for the long run, just like I've been telling myself. Listen to all these people on YouTube like old JSnip4. I actually listened and did it. Okay, great. So he says, as ridiculous as this is, we have to wait for the definition of swap to come out, then the 60 days starts. He says, I know it's ridiculous. Like I said before, they don't want to start the crash, but rather be ready to try and fix the problem after the crash. It was clear to me that at some point in the very near future, position limits will be firmly in place, and that's a good thing. That's good news. And that's actually not good news for the bad guys. Last week, I sent out a special report to private members here, with the following comment on this hearing. So how can this all play out? Here's 3 scenarios. 1, if they don't pass the rule on the 18th, we are right back where we started from at the entire year. Continued manipulations into the foreseeable future. 2, if they pass the rule without a few-month implementation, I would say it's off to the races for silver. The sky's the limit, followed by a global meltdown of all monetary systems. The end game. 3, if they pass the rule with a few-month implementation process, then we... Now, okay, number 2, I did say without, right? If they pass the rule without the few-month implementation, I would say it's off to the races for silver. Number 3, if they pass the rule with a few-month implementation process, which is exactly what happened today, then we would likely see JP Morgan and friends bring silver back up to previous highs before another major slam before the rule is implemented. Now keep that in mind, because that could make you want it. Oh, we're up to 50 again, 45, oh, and then you sell. You may be able to time that right, and if it goes down majorly, $20-something or lower even, the major crash of JP Morgan pushing the price down, then you just made out like a bandit, and then you could buy again at the bottom. If for some reason his exact plan doesn't play out here, and we see a new high only followed by another new high, and you're scratching your head saying, hey, I thought I was supposed to get out here, it didn't go back down, that's a chance you have to take. And there's no person, not me, not anybody, who's going to be able to sit here and tell you absolutely definitively this is exactly how it's going to go. Not even this guy. Because why? Because he's not a member of the board at JP Morgan Chase. He's not a member at the CFTC. He's not a high-level guy at the Securities and Exchange Commission. He doesn't sit on the board of the CME group. He doesn't attend the Bilderberg meetings, etc. Neither do I. Therefore, anything can happen. You are responsible for your moves. I, in my mind, am saying I'm not selling until I see certain numbers. And as Bob Chapman might say, we may see a $100 climb to silver rapidly, and then they sell off down to below 75 or so. And then they'll build it back up again. This guy makes a good case too. They may push it back up 40, 45, 50. boom, crash it again down to 20 something, dumping all their short positions in the process. I don't know, but this is definitely, again, definitely phenomenal good news for physical gold and silver holders in the long-term outlook. While they play their games in the middle term, short term, so what? You can try to play it if you want. You can try to catch the high and sell. It's up to you. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I'm holding for the long run. He says, if I were a betting man, I'd bet on scenario number 3. This is what he wrote a while ago. And scenario number 3 is exactly what just occurred today. I think they will pass the rule and give the bankers a few months. During these few months, the next financial crisis will hit, which again would be nice because in the next week or so, if all the conspiracy stuff, like from Reinhardt and all that, talking about the Legatus meeting and all that, the pilgrimage, if he's right again, and he might not be, I might not be for saying it, but if it is, then the massive market crash takes effect here shortly. And of course that could bring down silver with it anyways, and then it's time to start building back up silver going to the moon as the changes here get implemented, and then it's ready to skyrocket. So he says during these few months the next financial crisis will hit. If his scenario plays out, the next few months the next financial crisis will hit, allowing the banks to crash the gold and silver markets and then cover even more of their short positions and then go very long. Go long for sure. That is my take on where we are, so stay with physical and be ready to ride out any market manipulations they have left. That's exactly what I just told you. Be prepared to ride out any market manipulations, both up and down, and just sit tight. Once we breach the $100 level, you want to sell, go for it. I'm not going to tell you not to. I may consider selling some. Maybe there's a real nice piece of property out there in old Tennessee, somewhere near Lafayette, near Pastor Dowell and friends. Old J Snip 4 may say, you know what, $100, 100 ounces, $10,000, like that. Yep, here's a little tiny portion of my silver. Go ahead and pull that trigger. Got my land. Maybe it'll come with a little dumpy trailer or something I can fix up, whatever. Doesn't matter. I can maybe find 7, 8, 9, 10 acres. You never know. As prices are plummeting worse and worse, the property prices aren't going up higher. I may be able to find 15 acres for that kind of price. It's crazy. As crazy as that sounds right now. I've been following it for years, that market. I've always been looking at Tennessee for years. So, the bottom line is I may pull the trigger on a little piece of property or something out there and just get it on standby. Then again, maybe I won't. Everything may be collapsing around me, and it may not be collapsing enough for me to get nervous about anything and say, hey, I'm just gonna stay here in Florida. Yeah, the market's tanking, silver and gold's doing fantastic. We breached $100 silver. I might wait till $150 silver, and then that turns into 100 ounces turns into $15,000 instead of $10,000, you know, etc. It could happen in months. It could happen in a year. It could happen in 2 years. It's going to happen. Be rest assured, it's going to happen. When precisely, don't know, never claim to know. So, I'm gonna sit back, ride this horse until it's time to jump off. And we'll see how things go. So keep holding, keep your position, keep your physical silver position, don't sell. Get ready to ride this little wave out here shortly, whatever's going to take place. I already told you, I'm not comfortable at selling at 50. I will be comfortable at 100, you know, 75. That's going to make me happy, but I feel like I know better not to get involved in that. If I already know we're going to be in the hundreds sooner or later, why waste it at 75 trying to catch a little downward movement? Oh, they got to 75. Everyone's saying it's overbought, oversold, or whatever. Time to sell, you know, 100 or 200 ounces and then sit back. And they'll probably push it down to 50. Then I'll go ahead and buy another 200 ounces at 50, or more than 200 ounces at 50 with the profit I made. You know, 300 ounces or whatever, same amount of money, that kind of thing. You're playing the game. Is what you're doing when you do that, and that's okay to play the game. At least you're playing it with physical. But, man, I would hate to get caught dumping at 75, waiting for the down. Hey, it's overbought, it's overbought, it's overbought. Then it goes to 100. Hey, I thought I was overbought at 75. Now they're saying it's super duper overbought at 100, and they're right, and then it goes down to 75 or 60 or maybe not 60, back to 70, 75. Well, that's where you sold at. Now you're going to get right back in where you sold at. Again, you can play it. I can give you a dozen scenarios like that of how it could go. In each one of the scenarios, you'll think in your mind, man, Jay Snip, man, that sounds logical, sounds very reasonable. And it does, and it is logical. But I'm giving you scenarios of a good case where silver goes up and then goes up some more, and maybe you sold at the perfect moment. And then I'm giving you examples of where it went up and you sold and expected it to go down, but instead of that, it went up. It can go either way. Let's wait for the complete corruption of JP Morgan to get out of their silver positions completely when we are all on the same page, where we can sit here and say, you know what, man, they're out of their position. They're definitely out of their position now. It's clear as day. Okay, now silver's going to go to wherever it's going to go. Then if you want to start playing the game, buy, sell, this level, go for it. I wish you the best of luck. Bottom line, end of the day, I'm not selling until I see a few $100s. And honestly, $300, I'd probably sell all of it. All that I have. I'd have plenty to buy a house, land, some livestock, tractors, four-wheeler, whatever I need out there, get things done. Solar panels, I'd have plenty of money to do all that. And I mean, think about someone who's got like maybe 500 ounces of silver. Not a bad amount, by the way. My absolute bare minimum of someone who just is struggling to accumulate silver, get yourself 100 ounces. I would normally like to say 200 ounces. A lot of people out there have got 500 ounces or so. 5 times 3 is 15. That's $150,000 that you could potentially have. $500, $300, $150,000 on an investment that, by the way, if you bought it back when it was 10, not that long ago, when I went and bought a bunch, it only cost you 500 ounces times 10, 5 times 10, 5 G's basically. So $5,000 is pretty remarkable amount to pay for 500 ounces of silver. $5,000 for 5, or I got my math wrong. 5 times 10 is 50. 500, yeah, 5,000. So, anyways, imagine that turning $5,000 or even $10,000 into $150,000 in just a matter of a few short years, several years, 5, 6 years max. Let's say it ends up being that. Can you imagine that? That's like unfathomable to think about for the average guy, the average bottom guy, peasant, you and me, to do that. So I'm sticking in there. Anyways, that's all I got for you. Take care.